Welcome to the Blind Zone, where curiosity brings its own reward. What am I curious about today? I am curious why sugar is so addicting. Well, besides the obvious fact it's delicious, well, let me tell you my story about sugar and its impact on me. As I've already revealed on the Blind Zone, I am an alcoholic. Now, I haven't had a drink in 38 years, and I'm very proud about that. But after I stopped drinking, I substituted sugar for alcohol because sugar is a socially acceptable thing. People don't like it when you're drunk, but if you're just eating a lot of cookies, they think that's funny. So I remember eating a lot of cookies and then passing out, blacking out, and waking up and wondering where I was. So I recognized that sugar acted the same way alcohol did, but again, it's socially acceptable. So I just didn't try to do that in the same volume, so I didn't have the same effect. But I knew that the effects on my body were not good at all. And a couple weeks ago, I did a video called To Whom Are You Listening? And I broke it down. Who are you listening to, the flesh or the spirit? And I recognized sugar's draw on me was directly from the evil one. And he was encouraging me to eat as much as I could because, again, his goal is to what? Kill, steal, and destroy. And I knew that with even what looks like a fairly innocuous subject or substance like sugar, that this could be my detriment. So after a lot of falling on my face with sugar problems, I knew that I could not beat this on my own. So I went to the only one that could help me, and because I'm a believer in Jesus Christ, I trusted in the Holy Spirit, and I begged. I begged God, I begged the Son, and I begged the Spirit to please, please take the desire for sugar away. Now, I also have to tell you that because I have an obsessive uh, behavior, that I couldn't eat just like one or two cookies. I had to have a sleeve of them. I had to have a bag of candy. I had to have the whole cake. So that's part of the problem. I didn't have enough self-confidence, self-control that I could eat a little. It was all or nothing. So it had to be nothing. So again, I begged and pleaded and I prayed that God would take away the desire for sugar. And he did. And I found that if I made it through October, the Halloween season, and didn't eat any sugar, then November and December were very easy to get through. But if I fell in October during Halloween and ate candy, the rest of the holiday was just a big sugar blur. So I had been off sugar for a long time. I mean, well, and you liken it to somebody who's not had alcohol for a while. You're on the wagon and you're rolling along very smoothly. And in fact, I will say that once I quit sugar, like alcohol, the world seemed to brighten up, and I saw better how things were around me. They were clearer, they were crisper, they were more enjoyable. It was like I came back to life. So while I had been off of sugar for a long time, I'm saying a number of years, we had some company and they had came, and it was a very difficult visit with these people. And when they drove out, in a moment of weakness, I went up to the pantry because there was a rule in my house. I allowed no alcohol in the house. I never wanted to have an accidental slip. But I went upstairs after the company left, and I went into my pantry and I grabbed a box of frosted mini wheats. Frosted being the operative word in that whole thing. And I sat on the floor in the pantry and I ate it. I was so incredibly sick after doing so. And I recognized that I had let God down. I had begged and pleaded that he would take away the desire. And in my moment of weakness, I fell and I consumed volumes of it. And Satan was easy to whisper in my ear. See, you can't do this. You might as well just give into it. And God's not going to save you from this again because, he did it once and he won't do it again. And honestly, for a brief, brief moment, I believed him and I trusted what he said. And then I thought about it. He doesn't want the best for me. Again, his motive is to kill, steal, and destroy. So it was back on my knees for me. And I just begged God, please, I'm so sorry. I repented of what I did. And he knows the motives of your heart. So he knows if you're just saying you're sorry because you got caught at it, or if you're sorry and you turn away from it. So once again, he freed me from the addiction of sugar. And I made it for many, many, many more years. And in fact, I can honestly say I've never had that kind of a slip up again. Now, I can say that I don't eat sugar now at all. No candy, no cookies, no cakes, pies, any of that stuff. But, there are, and the government allows food manufacturers to slip sugar into things that really don't need sugar. But because sugar is an addictive thing, that once your body eats it, it craves it, and then it's really hard to break that cycle. So I have yogurt in the morning, but it's as good it's as clean from sugar as it can get. But again, no cookies, cakes, donuts, any of that stuff. So when I was thinking about this, it was like, well, why is it so addictive? And it is because it's so tasty. Who doesn't love caramel anything? I mean, that's just great. And I'm not saying this to anybody to poke at anybody, because there are plenty of people I know who routinely eat sugar and it doesn't bother them. But then there are other people I know who eat sugar and it causes inflammation and gut upset and a lot of other things. And they can't seem to break the cycle of, well, it's tasty, I'm going to continue to eat it. I've eaten it all my life. It can't be that harmful, or whatever else you tell in your head. And again, this video is not to point fingers at you and tell you what you should be doing. I'm just telling you that I know that sugar is from the pit of hell and that I needed to give it up. And I debated about adding this in, but I'm going to say it anyway. I had a bunch of my neighbors had come over, and a lot of them, they're quite a bit older than me, and they all struggled with significant health issues. And I was talking to them about the things they ate, and they all consumed fairly large quantities of sugar. And I thought to myself, you would feel a lot better if you were able to purge that evil from your body. But again, it's hard because it's addictive, and Satan doesn't want you to think that you can overcome that desire for something that is just so tasty and so abundant and so processed into everything. And if you think about it, that's why they start putting it in kids' food so early, so that by the time they're older, that'll just become a normal part of their DNA, that they think that that's a normal course of action. And again, the type 2 diabetes and the obesity is unprecedented in our country, and it's sugar driven, sugar related. And again, back in the days, in the 40s and 50s, we didn't have dessert at every meal, or if it was just a small something. And now it's just always consumable because it's always available, and it's unfortunately always delicious. So that's it. That's my confession on how I was addicted to sugar. I'm no longer addicted to sugar, but it's nothing that I did on my own. It's nothing that I did with my own self control, because it's like when you were young and you were in elementary school and they had chin up bars, and you could hang on the chin up bars for so long, but after a while you just fell to the ground because you could not sustain that on your own. So if you're struggling with the sugar addiction and you are a believer, you have an advocate that wants you out of that death trap. But you have to ask them, is this a problem for me? Is this something that if I didn't do it, it would be better for me? And if the Spirit, and in the book of James, God says, you need wisdom. Anybody who asks me for wisdom, I will give it to them, but they have to follow what I say. So if you think there's a problem with sugar and you talk to the Holy Spirit and He confirms that there is, then you can trust that He wants the best for you, and He wants you to do it in a way that, I don't want to say is easy for you, because He may take the desire away immediately, or He may just help you day to day to avoid something that is very detrimental. So that's it. That's my sweet saga of misery. And do I miss it? Occasionally, I think, wow, I remember when. But then I remembered all the things that it did that almost ruined me. So that's it, another Happy the Blind Zone episode. But take my words to heart. Not that I'm, again, pointing fingers. I'm just telling you what sugar had done in my life and how I'm so much better and healthier for not continuing to indulge. So that's it. We'll see you next time on the Blind Zone.